And we're live. Welcome back, everyone. Craig here. So I apologize if there's some feedback. I seem to get feedback when the air conditioning fan is on and it's super hot here. We have storms rolling through where I'm at. So there's a little buzzing in the background. I apologize. I hope it's just coming through on my end. So this is hopefully going to be a short video and not super organized, but I wanted to kind of throw this out there because it's sort of been in the works for a while. So as the title indicates, I'm leaving Streamyard. Well, I'm under contract with Streamyard for another 8 months or so, I think. So I will still be using Streamyard, but let me tell you a little bit about my journey to podcasting and video. This is not my only channel. I have a number of other ones, including pretty successful podcasts that I do over on YouTube, as well as on Spotify and Apple. So when I started podcasting probably 2.5 years ago, I didn't really know that you could do it by video. I really had no interest in doing it by video. And so I thought, okay, how do I get on Spotify and Apple? And it seemed so daunting to do it. So I ended up, as the algorithm does, I was searching for how to start a podcast, started getting fed ads for podcast coaching programs and all that kind of stuff. And I ended up settling on someone who is a pretty well-established name in the industry, who had a very long-running podcast, which incidentally has since stopped, maybe has started again, but kind of Mr. Consistency over like 15-20 years. And so I went through his program, paid him a chunk of money to do so, and ended up really not using any of it because I was like, why are he really wasn't into video. And it was all this like very complicated layers of, okay, you got to record in this program, and then you got to go edit in this program, and then you got to do this, and then you got to do that, and then you got to get a hosting thing, and then you got to have an RSS thing, and all this complicated stuff that I was like, wow. I already had a YouTube channel at that time, and I put a few casual videos up there, and I was like, I could just put this on YouTube. It's like super easy. This is really before YouTube podcasting was a thing. And so I was like, I don't have to mess with anything. I literally record a video on my phone, upload it to YouTube, and there it is. And fortunately for me, I've been on TV and stuff before, so I wasn't super afraid of the camera, despite the fact that I have a face for radio. And so that probably helped. So I just started, I'll just start making videos on YouTube. And then kind of YouTube podcasting took off. And now what I do is I have a YouTube channel. I have multiple YouTube channels where I record videos, and then I take and upload the video, usually video or audio, to Spotify, where I have a Spotify account for my different podcasts, and then I RSS feed from Spotify to Apple, iHeart, the different ones out there. And that's worked really well, and it's super simple. And when I first started doing it, how did I do it? I didn't want to fill up my phone. So I actually started recording on Zoom. Maybe this is why, because we had been through COVID and my work, I was constantly on Zoom, and I had actually started recording things on Zoom. So I was like, I'll just record it on Zoom. So I actually recorded a lot of early podcast videos on Zoom, initially with just kind of the built-in webcam, which is what I'm doing now. This is a fairly new MacBook Pro, and I'm just using the built-in camera, which isn't too bad. The background isn't great here, but it's what I have right now. And so, and then I upgraded to like a 4K webcam, and gradually got Blue Yeti mic, and I did that for a long time, and then it slowly upgraded. Now you can see I have a nice Rodecaster mic here. I have the Rode mic, and I have the Rodecaster Pro over here for my audio. And but once I one of the reasons I liked Zoom is I could record to the cloud, and I have a virtual assistant who's in the Philippines who does a lot of my behind the scenes editing and uploading and stuff like that. So it was on the cloud, and the nice thing about Zoom is you could record the file. It would give you the video file as well as the audio file, or like all the audio tracks if you had multiple people. And then I don't know if it was when I first started doing it, but quickly they were one of the first ones to have AI generated transcripts, which was really nice. And so I started doing it on Zoom for quite a while because I could get video, audio, and a transcript. And Zoom is super cheap. It's like, is it 10, maybe $20 a month now, $10 a month for a pro plan. And so I use Zoom for a long time. And if you do want to do interviews, Zoom is super handy because everyone uses Zoom now, right? Everyone is very familiar with it. It's very dependable. And I still use Zoom for a lot of stuff, especially for work. I don't record YouTube content very much with it, but I could. But there were some definite limitations with Zoom, in part because I kind of wanted to start doing some live streaming. And Zoom, you couldn't do, you see I got the little name thing down here. If you wanted to put, let me see if I can pull one up here. You're not going to be able to see it, but let's see. If you want to put that kind of stuff up there, you could bring that in. You could share screen nice. You could do, you could bring in sound. And then eventually StreamYard got to the point where, I'm sorry, you couldn't do that on Zoom, okay? Sorry. You couldn't do that on Zoom unless you did it like in post recording editing, which has always been I've always been very, very hesitant about getting into editing because I think it just slows the process and it doesn't really increase the quality of it for the most part until you've got a big enough platform, which I kind of do now, which I'll get to here in a minute when I talk about Riverside. But so at some point I heard about StreamYard and I looked at it and was like, oh, this is really nice because you can stream with it, but you can also record videos with it, cloud-based, AI transcripts. But it had, you could dial up your recording, like during the recording, much better than you could on Zoom. So I made the switch to StreamYard, promoted the heck out of it. And in fact, even though I'm going to kind of trash StreamYard a little bit today, I think there's probably going to be an affiliate link in the description here. StreamYard is still great for streaming, and I'm still going to use it for that. But I quickly developed problems with it for my everyday recording, and this may not be a StreamYard problem. It may be an equipment issue that I have on my end, or an internet issue. One of the biggest challenges with StreamYard requires a pretty good internet connection, and if your internet kind of wavers at all, like I sometimes have here, I'm not sure why, you'll lose connection, lose quality. So you got to have, got to have that good internet connection. And then what I ended up having happen was my video would just kick out randomly during the middle of a live stream or recording, and then not come back on, and I'd have to pause and go back and fix it, and it started happening every time I did it. And at first I thought it was my computer. I had switched laptops to a work laptop that I have that doesn't have like much for video graphic cards and things like that. So probably just overwhelming it. So I was getting a new MacBook anyway, and so I got the one I'm recording on now is fairly new, high, sort of high end RAM and all that kind of stuff, processing, and then it continued to do it. It was like, Well, that's not great. So I never did totally diagnose the problem, other than I suspect it's either a StreamYard issue, an internet issue, or both. But regardless, I started looking for other solutions. And in part, I was looking for something that could operate even with little or poor internet. And so I started searching at all the different things. There's so many options out there to script. OBS, I looked really closely at OBS. I was a little turned off by the complexity of it and other things. So I almost went on the OBS down that path, and then I changed my mind. I had heard about Riverside, but I never looked at it much myself. And so I started looking at it and comparing, and then I kind of narrowed it down to I'm either going to stay with StreamYard and make it work, or I'm going to go to Riverside. So I started doing a side-by-side comparison. 90% of what I would want was in Riverside, and it had some capabilities that StreamYard didn't have. And then there was a few things that StreamYard could do. And there was the fact that I've been using StreamYard for a while, very comfortable with it. It is very intuitive. I like simple things. I like things with features, but that are simple and intuitive to use. So StreamYard is a very robust platform, but it's pretty, like, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure it out. So that's one of the reasons I like it. Probably one of the biggest things that happened with StreamYard was somewhere along the line, they made it so that you could play your intro and outro, like you could upload it to StreamYard, play it, and then include it in your recording, which is great because for me, it basically eliminated the need for editing. Because rather than adding it later in post-production, I could add it at the time. And so that was a huge benefit. And they came up with some other features. I mean, StreamYard has been rolling out a lot of things with like scenes, and the AI has come along. I still like StreamYard for streaming. Riverside, as I understand it, can live stream, but it's not where it excels the most. So anyway, I started looking at Riverside, and one of the biggest things I found about Riverside is number one, it will continue to work well and record high quality video even if you lose good internet. So so that was probably the biggest thing. It has much better editing capabilities after the fact. In the past, when I had stuff on StreamYard, basically on StreamYard, you can go in after the fact, look at your recording, and there's like a trim feature, so you can like take pieces out, shorten it, but you couldn't really add to it or anything like that. So if you wanted to do some editing, add some B-roll, things like that, you had to download it or have someone download it and run it through a program. We use CapCut, something like that. And that just takes time. And I don't know, I just don't like editing because it typically doesn't add much when it comes to audio type video, content. So, but I got to the point where I wanted to start doing a little editing, and Riverside allows you to do a lot. It's not a super robust platform, but it's got a lot of options that you can use to take and make a good video better, quite a bit better, without exporting it and going to some other program. So, and it's cloud-based, so even if you have weak internet connection, it records locally, and then as your internet connection is restored, it puts it on the cloud. And then, so like for me, my virtual assistant or marketing people that do some work for me can actually log in. They can edit. We can all edit the video. We can access it. So that's really cool. It has a very simple thing. You upload your intro and outro if you use intros and outros. And you, with like a click of a button after you record the content, you can just add them. You can trim, add stuff. One of the things I like to do, ideally in a podcast, this is one piece of editing that I think if you're going to do it is really good. Most of us don't start our podcast well, and especially if you do have an intro, new people may not sit through the intro to get to hear what you have to say, and unless you have a really good hook at the very beginning, you know, they may never listen to enough to like it. I like to go and find the best zinger, the best 15 seconds, with the first few seconds being just really pop. I like to add that to the very beginning of the video, then the intro, then the video. That enables new viewers or even existing viewers to like find out, hey, man, I want to hear the rest of this video, right? So that's one of the nice things about Riverside that I couldn't do in StreamYard, was identify that clip, add it to it, and then export it. So anyway, I'm only a week into technically I'm still on the free trial, but I'm definitely going to continue with Riverside from what I've seen so far. In part because I'm kind of at a stage now where I do want to do some more editing or have staff do editing, because I have platforms that are growing and are worthy of that kind of time and money investment. So that's been my progression. So I'm on Riverside. Maybe at some point I'll go to something else. If I continue to do much live streaming like I am here, I'll probably keep StreamYard. Here's the other thing I forgot to mention. StreamYard became very, very expensive. Like, I feel like it doubled or tripled in price since I first started like a year ago. I feel like it started out at like 20 some bucks a month, and then I ended up going up to kind of the top plan because I wanted some of the features, such as being able to add a second camera, which I ended up not using very much. So it was like 50 bucks a month, but I was using it for a lot of different channels. And then it went up to like 80 bucks a month. I was like, well, this is getting kind of crazy. So I'm going to be scaling that back. To the point where I may actually just go to a free account, maybe on the StreamYard, if I want to continue streaming to some of my channels. Otherwise, I'll probably just do more videos in Riverside, do some editing, get them out there. It also has, similar to Opus Clips, I think is what it's called, program I usually use to chop up the long form into shorts and reels. Riverside has that internally built. I don't know that it's quite up to the level of Opus, but it's pretty good. The other thing that really sold me on Riverside was the AI is really good. So what we had been doing, you know, StreamYard, when you record on a StreamYard, will give you, kind of like Zoom, will give you the video, audio, and a transcript. And it has some clips and shorts and reels function, which I never found to be very good, so I never really tried it. Maybe it's come a long ways since it first rolled out. But with a transcript, we would take the transcript and my assistant would then upload that generally to ChatGPT. We've used other different AI programs, but ChatGPT, ask it to summarize it, you know, give us a description, give us chapters, keywords, proposed titles. And it was real hit or miss with ChatGPT, whether it got it, whether it was helpful. And it seemed to me it was becoming less and less useful as I went along. That feature is kind of built right into Riverside. And from what I've seen from the couple of videos I've done there, it actually does a really nice job. And actually, I don't know if it has a better understanding of what the video is about than if you just upload the transcript to ChatGPT. I'm not sure. But the quality of the draft description, chapters, and keywords seems to be really good. So hopefully that turns out to be the case. So it's kind of all one-stop shop there, other than the live streaming. I haven't tried that out yet. But anyway, that's just kind of where I'm at. It's one of the reasons I've been a little bit, I haven't done a lot of videos on some of my channels recently, because I've been going through this searching progress, trying to diagnose this issue and making a pivot. And I'm in the process of pivoting to Riverside, and so far I've been really happy with it. Yeah, so I'll do more videos on that as I get into it. If I identify some major issues, I'll probably talk about it. But for now, that's what I'm going to be doing. So if people have questions about Riverside or Streamyard, I know a lot more about Streamyard than I do Riverside for people that, but I'm quickly going to hopefully get good at Riverside as well, or my virtual assistant will be. So anyway, just wanted to do that. This is kind of gone on as long as I wanted. We have storms rolling in, including possible tornadoes. So I'm going to get the heck out of here, and hope this was helpful. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment, and I'll do my best to answer them either in the comments or in another video. So I appreciate you watching, and until next time, everyone, have a good one.